Hi, it's me, Bob, again. Thank you for coming back to our site, to our YouTube videos. This is a very, very interesting moment in time in history. We are currently watching Dr. Avi Loeb, who, in my opinion, will be the false prophet. But for some reason, he wants that position as the UN Special Envoy for future generations. Now, he is immensely qualified for that position. But here's the problem. I don't even know if he knows about that position at the UN. I don't know if he is actively seeking that position. I don't know if somebody has whispered in his ear that he would be a good candidate for that position. But with these videos that I'm publishing right now, I want to show you that that could be the only reason that Avi Loeb, Dr. Professor Avi Loeb, is doing what he is doing. He is an absolute fraud, this man. He reminds me of Bernie Madoff. He is someone who has incredible credentials, so everyone believes him. But at the same time, every single thing he says is a lie. If you watch this man, Avi Loeb, and think about all the things that he says, he cannot prove one of the things that he says. And most of the academia in his field questions him. They don't agree with Avi Loeb. But, as I said, he has the credentials, so they're a little shy about going one and one against him. So this is a very interesting time. And I want to show you in the video today and in some of the videos in the near future that Avi Loeb has no idea what he's talking about. But it does appear that he is building his resume to become this special envoy, because this special envoy is going to be interlinked, if that's a word, with Emmanuel Macron at the September 23rd, 24th UN meeting, and at the same time interlinked with what might happen at that meeting, which is the UFOs, which is the Rapture. All of this could happen at that meeting because of the Feast of Trumpets. We've already gone through all of this, no need to repeat it. But the UFOs are going to play an immensely large role in what's about to happen on this planet, especially during the tribulation period. Having said that, Avi Loeb is so interconnected with this UFO debacle, if you will. He is doing everything that he can to connect himself with this UFO conspiracy. And that's what it is. It's a conspiracy. It's really demons that are going to show up during the tribulation period. I think Avi Loeb is somehow connected to the occult, connected to this demonology. I haven't quite figured out the whole thing yet, but I'm working on it. So he is immensely connected, as I said, to this whole UFO thing. And again, as I said, I'm going to try to show you how he is politicking, or uh, as he's, I forget the word, but he wants that job at the UN as the special envoy. And everything seems to be leading up to that role. He's got about 4 weeks to pull it off, and I think he's going to do it. So let's keep an eye on him. Let's keep an eye on what he's doing. Keep an eye on all of his lies, all of his exaggerations. And again, the only reason I could think of he's doing all of this is to get that job. I don't think it's a high paying job. It probably has a lot of prestige and a lot of power, a lot of publicity, which I've come to learn that Avi Loeb really seeks after. He is a publicity hound. He wants to be in the limelight. He'll fit perfectly with Emmanuel Macron if they could learn to share. And I've showed you that picture of him, the two thrones that Macron, he's sitting in one of them, and the other throne is empty because it's for the false prophet. but I could easily picture Avi Loeb sitting next to Emmanuel Macron, both of them seeking attention, both of them seeking world attention, and both of them getting the world attention, not for the right reasons. But Avi Loeb right now is on my radar, and I'm going to do as many videos as I can showing that he is politicking for that job at the UN as the special envoy for future generations. And you'll see what I mean, and hopefully you'll understand what I'm trying to show. Okay, thanks.
At the Summit of the Future in September 2024, attendees adopted the United Nations Pact or Summit for the Future with its annexes, the Declaration on Future Generations and the Global Digital Compact. With these three documents, the United Nations, UN, is pushing for global governance with itself at the helm. Emmanuel Macron's Pact for the Future dilutes the paramount importance of human rights. The Declaration on Future Generations raises questions about who can legitimately represent the interests of hypothetical future generations. And the Global Digital Compact is an attempt by the UN to place itself in the driver's seat to manage and control the digital revolution for all nations. As well as global guiding principles and commitments, this declaration lists actions to be taken. One such action is to appoint a special envoy for future generations, along with a select group of people to review progress made on its implementation and therefore to enforce it. The special envoy for future generations will dictate that we must be subjected to global rules and laws so as not to endanger the generations yet to be born. Are you ready? It appears that Emmanuel Macron has already accomplished most of the significant tasks and heavy lifting. You should be able to recognize this from our earlier conversations. So, what are we missing? We are missing religion. Let me emphasize that. The nefarious plan for global governance cannot be realized without religion. Do you remember John the Baptist? Was John a reflective, tranquil, and subdued person? No, he was not.
I am the Lord unchanging, says the Eternal, and you too have not ceased to be sons of Jacob. From the days of your forefathers you have been wayward and have not kept my laws. If you will return to me, I will return to you, says the Lord.
His purpose was to prepare the way for the Messiah. John's mission was to spread this message by virtually any means necessary. He offended many people, just as Professor Avi Loeb frequently does. I am currently working on another video that will feature Professor Avi Loeb engaging with his contemporary political and scientific scribes and Pharisees. And you will probably observe that Professor Avi Loeb is not to be underestimated.
All right, Jill next.
So Avi, I get a little bit pissed off when you throw the entire scientific culture under the bus, because some of us have been thinking about and building instruments to find anomalies for a very long time. And I think that when we say that if we ever are going to announce such a detection, that we require extraordinary evidence, we're doing that as a way of differentiating ourselves from the pseudoscience that is so much a part of popular culture with UFOs and all kinds of claims of things that people have detected. So
Okay.
I wouldn't be so hard on the whole culture, Avi.
Well, let me explain. To your first point, I'm talking about a factor of 1,000 in funding. I'm not talking about a factor of 2 over a decade increase in funding. I'm saying there is a discrepancy by a factor of 1,000 in what needs to be the case relative to what is the case of the community that you are talking about. A factor of 1,000 is a big factor in funding. And moreover, it's even a bigger factor in bullying, because anyone that makes a suggestion in the direction of technological signature is being bullied and ridiculed.
I don't.
Wait a second. Let me finish. Now, my second point, which is very important, is in the Dark Ages, people used to say that the human body should not be dissected. There shouldn't be operations because it has magical powers, because there is a soul. Now think about it. If scientists were to say, we don't want to discuss the human body until there are extraordinary evidence for something, we don't want to discuss it because of all this nonsense being said about the human body. Where would modern medicine be? I say science has an obligation to focus on problems that are of interest to the public and use the scientific method to resolve them. And rather than say, we need extraordinary evidence and then step on the grass and not allow it to grow, which is currently the case. We need extraordinary evidence, but anyone that mentions this possibility is ridiculed by some blogger that doesn't even write a single paper in a decade. That makes no sense whatsoever. This blogger should first practice science.
Well, some of us do.
No, let me finish. How dare people make statements about scientists that explore these possibilities within the scientific method? That's the acidic culture that I'm talking about. There is an acidic culture that suppresses innovation in the current culture of science. And the best example is SETI, because they say we need extraordinary evidence, and then they don't let people search for that extraordinary evidence by a factor of 1,000. I'm not talking about a small group of people at Berkeley or at the SETI Institute doing some work. I'm talking about a factor of 1,000 increase in your budget, in the budget of the community, and a factor of 100 more people working on it, not at the SETI Institute, but everywhere, in every university. This becoming a mainstream subject, just like string theory is. Why should we fund searches for dark matter and not for technological civilizations as part of the mainstream? That's my argument. And I find it really surprising that I get opposition from you to that notion.
I really don't like the generalization of the whole culture being bad mouth.
Okay,
and sure, I'd love our budget to be 1,000 times.
Okay, so why are you opposing me? Why don't you join me in arguing for 1,000 times more budget?
But Avi, I've been doing that for 40 years. All right, we've been arguing.
Well, you are arguing with me about the credit of who gets credit for arguing that, rather than saying I endorse your view. Why don't you say I endorse your view instead of saying, oh, I've been doing it, why are you doing it now? Why do you say that? Why don't you join forces with me and go for it? Rather than say, actually, I said it 40 years ago, you're saying it now, I want credit for that, you don't get credit. Who cares? Like, we are trying to promote a common cause. And you're arguing with me about credit. I just don't understand it.
I think the culture as a whole shouldn't be badmouthed. That's what I'm saying. I think that you're being too sweeping in your condemnation.
Okay, factor of 1,000 is too sweeping. Okay, fine.
Okay.
If you are acquainted with Avi Loeb, then you are also aware that he is skilled at provoking controversy. He is presently preaching one primary goal: to announce the forthcoming arrival of the Star Messiah and to reintroduce the global religion of the New Age movement from the 1960s. If you have listened to some of Avi Loeb's previous videos, you have heard him assert, I believe that the New Age Messiah will come to Earth from another star system. Now, this is a vital point I wish to clarify. Please pay close attention. All right? There are no extraterrestrial aliens. There are no other life forms beyond what is outlined in our Bible. No space alien in any form will come to our planet. Every person who claims to have encountered or seen any alien or alien spacecraft is either deceiving or misled. Allow me to share a Bible verse that clarifies the nature of the false prophet. And he causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast. To worship the Antichrist. That is his objective. So, if there are no alien life forms arriving, then why is Avi Loeb subjecting us to this extraterrestrial nonsense? Good question. Avi Loeb is preparing the world for a demonic invasion. This is why Jesus stated that it will not only be the last 7 years of Earth's history but also the most dreadful. Just envision the entire planet overtaken by demons. Together Emmanuel Macron and Avi Loeb, the Antichrist and false prophet predicted by our Holy Bible, will guarantee global chaos and death. To the pleasure and joy of their father the devil, Satan. So to recap, Avi Loeb's appointment as the UN Special Envoy for future generations will be the cover for Emmanuel Macron to guarantee that the political, environmental, military, and religious platforms of the Antichrist will be carried out. His false prophet and strongman will see to it.